Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Apologize for being a few minutes late. Howard Wolfson, Communications Director of the Clinton campaign, here with our Chief Strategist, Mark Penn. We are unveiling an ad this afternoon that we feel is very important, which Mark will talk about, and Mark will also talk a little bit about some of the very good poll numbers that have come out today. So, and then of course we'll take your questions after Mark speaks. So, Mark.
Thanks, Howard. We're releasing the second in what's become known as the 3 a.m. Advertisements, and this is the second in a series. And this one covers what would happen if that call at 3 a.m. were an economic crisis. Either here or somewhere around the world, where the president got a call, and at the same time, our families now are in the midst of a difficult housing and economic crisis that is on the front pages every day. And in contrast, that John McCain's answer to the housing crisis is not to offer the kind of real and practical help that Senator Clinton has suggested as far back as a year ago was necessary to avert the crisis and is necessary now to deal with the crisis. So we're raising real and substantive issues with Senator McCain on how to conduct the economy going forward. And Hillary Clinton, has had a plan for dealing with the housing crisis and to create millions of new jobs. This ad will air in Pennsylvania. And again, I think it sharpens the debate, as we've seen that going forward, the country needs somebody ready to be commander-in-chief on day one, and also now someone ready to be the manager or steward of the economy and to deal with the crises that we have, as well as to rebuild the middle class. The senator has been on an almost week-long economic tour. She's highlighted her $100 billion of middle-class tax cuts. She's highlighted her program for reining in the special interests, meaning the oil companies, the drug companies, and getting rid of tax breaks for Wall Street. And today, in her economic summit, also outlined her policies to create more jobs through insourcing. I think this ad then is consistent with this important debate, who would be the best to manage the economy. Of all the candidates out there, we believe that Senator Clinton, and that we're kicking off a debate highlighting the comments by Senator McCain that we think would be that the senator thinks would be the wrong direction to take the country in, and could further exacerbate rather than solve the country's problems. The backdrop to this, there's some interesting polls out from Quinnipiac that again highlight the basic argument. Not only is Senator Clinton the right person to be commander-in-chief and to be manager of the economy, but the right person for the Democrats to put up to beat John McCain. There are polls out today. The Quinnipiac polls I'd highlight show that in Pennsylvania she leads by 9 points, but I think almost more importantly, this poll shows that she leads McCain. She leads McCain by 2 points in Florida, up from a 2-point deficit in February. Meanwhile, despite the publicity I think that Senator Obama's received, he is 9 points behind McCain in Florida and in Ohio. Again, Hillary Clinton leads McCain by 9 points, whereas the margin with Obama is only 1 point, and that's a dramatic difference in terms of the electability of Senator Clinton in both the states that have been critical in the last two elections, Ohio and Florida. Similarly, in Pennsylvania, she leads McCain by 8 points and Obama only by 4. We've seen the Gallup poll, close, and is now down to a 3-point gap. Had been open as much as 10, and we've seen that again at the same time we're seeing in most of the polls a consistent and significant lead in Pennsylvania, going into the next contest. So with that as a backdrop, I think we see both substantially improving polls in the last few days, and I think these polls continue to build a case that she is the most electable Democrat against Senator McCain. And today, through the 3 a.m. ad, she's opened perhaps what could be one of the most significant arguments, which is that she has a plan to end the crisis and create new jobs, where Senator McCain has no real plan for action in the housing crisis. Howard?
Well, thanks, Mark. And before we open it up to questions, I would just mention that we believe that this is the first Democratic ad of the cycle to mention John McCain. Obviously, the differences between Senator Clinton and Senator McCain on the economy, on the housing crisis, are profound and substantial. And, of course, we believe that this will be critically important as we head towards the election in November. And with that, I would ask the operator if you could open the lines up for questions. We'd appreciate it. I'm also joined here, I should add, by Deputy Communications Director Phil Singer.
All right, participants, if you have a question, please press star 1 on your telephone keypad. This will place your question in the order it was received. Once again, if you have a question, please press star 1 now, and we'll go ahead and take our first question.
Hey, it's Ken Vogel from Politico. Given the focus in this ad on the housing crisis and her increased focus on the campaign trail on the crisis, does she intend to be back in D.C. for the vote expected before on the Senate floor on the Dodd bill to help homeowners either tomorrow or next week?
I don't know. I'll check with our scheduler and scheduling team and Senate office and get you an answer. I don't know the answer to that. One thing I would say, though, is that this has been an issue that Senator Clinton has been focusing on for some time. I think it is fair to say that she was the first candidate in this race to really focus on this issue with the kind of intensity that it deserved. She's been offering substantive proposals to address this problem throughout the campaign. President Bush has ignored those proposals consistently. I think it's also fair to say that if he had adopted Senator Clinton's earlier proposals to address the housing crisis, the country would be in a better place today. And just so everybody knows on the call, and we've talked about it before, Senator Clinton believes that we should be freezing interest rates and foreclosures for subprime borrowers, which is a bold plan that would help homeowners keep and protect their homes.
All right, we'll take our next question.
Hi, it's Andrea Mitchell, Howard, Mark, and Phil. I wanted to ask when you're going to release your figures, your fundraising figures for last month, and when are you going to go up with ads in Indiana and North Carolina? What you consider your advertising budget and how you're going to match Obama in Pennsylvania. If you could give us some specifics on that, Mark. And do you have a response to their attack email today about the job losses in upstate New York and her alleged failure to deliver on a promise of 200,000 new jobs for upstate New York? Thanks.
So let me take a couple of those, and I'll have Mark take a couple. We don't expect to match Senator Obama ad for ad. You will recall that we were outspent significantly in Ohio and Texas on television, and we were able to win despite that by focusing the debate on the critical issues of who can be commander-in-chief and who could be steward of the economy. We've already been outspent in Pennsylvania nearly 4-1 on TV. We expect that we will probably be outspent about 2-1 for the remainder of the period of the primary in Pennsylvania. So we will have significant resources to compete and be successful, but we know that Senator Obama will outspend us significantly. And, you know, parenthetically, at the beginning of the contest in Pennsylvania, there was a lot of rhetoric from the Obama campaign that Pennsylvania wasn't important. They tried to downplay the significance of Pennsylvania. I think we all know now that Senator Obama is in Pennsylvania full force. He is spending a great deal of money there. He has been engaged in a 6-day bus trip in Pennsylvania. He's gone bowling there, which clearly means he is doing everything he can to win. The fact is that Pennsylvania is a state that is critically important for Democrats. The road to 1600 Pennsylvania goes through the state of Pennsylvania. Senator Obama knows this, which is why he has been so engaged in the contest, despite early indications that he would not be. And it's very important for both candidates. Both candidates, I think, have every expectation that they will do well, and so it's a key test for both candidates. If Senator Obama is unable to win in Pennsylvania, it will once again raise questions about his ability to win in large states and his ability to close the deal. I'll turn it over to Mark for the Indiana and North Carolina part of your question.
Well, we don't give out our advertising strategy in advance. We believe we will have sufficient resources to get our message out, that we'll be substantially outspent, as we were in Ohio and Texas, and we will yet still have very favorable result in Pennsylvania. And we think the ability to win when being outspent is another important indicator of the strength of the coalition of voters coming around Senator Clinton.
And your fundraising?
Our we're not going to put out our number today. Our fundraising is strong. This is Howard. Our fundraising is strong. We had a very strong month in February. We had a very strong month in March. Our internet fundraising continues to be particularly strong, particularly robust, and we will have the resources that we need to be successful. But let's be clear, as we have been. We will not have the resources that Senator Obama has. We will be outspent by Senator Obama, and that I think will be true in Pennsylvania, as it will be in Indiana and North Carolina. It was also true in Texas and Ohio, and despite that, we were able to be successful in those states because we, as I said, we focused the electorate on and the election on the important issues of who was ready to be commander-in-chief and who was ready to be steward of the economy. And when we do that, Hillary Clinton does well because voters know that she has passed those tests, and they still have significant concerns about Senator Obama.
Okay, we'll take our next question.
Hey guys, it's Lorraine Woolard at Bloomberg. You're targeting McCain in these ads, but she trails in delegates. She barely holds a lead in superdelegates, and you're basically tied. Her and Obama are basically tied in endorsements, and he's out raising you. So, it seems like he's still the person to beat here before you start targeting McCain.
Well, the real issue, though, is who is going to be the best person to take on Senator McCain. And we think both her experience and ability to be a commander-in-chief and her ability to, go up against Senator McCain on the economy are key reasons why both a lot of voters and, in the end, superdelegates will look to Senator Clinton as the right nominee for the party. And so we think this advances very much the two legs of the argument. And, with Senator McCain saying he was going to have to study up on economics, it draws even, I think, more dramatically the point that she can both go up against anyone's national security record in this contest and, in fact, have a stronger understanding, knowledge, and experience of complex economic matters, which I think people are going to find extremely important in terms of who they pick for the next president.
So I'm sorry. So I'm so sorry. So the point is here to fight for the popular vote now, not for the delegates?
Well, it's Howard. Let me join in and make the following point. Senator Clinton is arguing three things in the context of this Pennsylvania election. One is that she is ready to be commander-in-chief. Two is that she is ready to be steward of the economy. Three is that she is the strongest candidate the Democrats could put up against John McCain. And as Mark says, this ad focuses on two of those arguments. Mm-hmm. That we are ready to tackle the economic problems that confront America, that confront the nation as a whole, and it hit families especially hard, and that we are ready and able and best able to take on John McCain in a general election. And so that is what this ad does. We think it does it effectively. And there is going to be an ongoing debate, obviously, continuing with Senator Obama on issues. But this is an ad that deals with the respective policies of Senator Clinton and Senator McCain.
All right, thanks. We'll take the next question.
Hi, it's John Dickerson from Slate. So what moment would you point to in Hillary's career where she's been tested by a complex emergency economic crisis?
You know, this is the question that was asked about the 3 a.m. ad, and I think that what we said then is what I would say now, which is there is not a single moment like being that tests you for being president, like being president. And so if you're not president, you don't get called to figure out what happened, how we inject liquidity into the market the next morning. That's a decision that the president might make, the chairman of the Fed might make. I mean, I guess if you're the chairman of the Fed, you might have that experience. But similarly, you don't get called at 3 a.m. To make a decision whether or not to how to respond to a military threat unless you're president. What Senator Clinton draws upon and why voters believe that she has passed these twin tests of commander-in-chief and steward of the economy is a lifetime of experience, both in and out of the White House, where an understanding, a rich and deep understanding of complex problems, the complex problems that the economy faces today. Senator of New York, someone who understands markets and how they impact ordinary people and their importance. And so ultimately, voters make this decision. Voters have clearly decided, based on the elections in Ohio and Texas, that Senator Clinton has passed these tests. Voters have not yet made that determination for Senator Obama. I think voters are certainly looking at Senator McCain, and much of what Senator McCain has been saying has been lacking. He has no real plan to address the housing crisis. That's not what the country needs now. The country needs the kind of bold action that Senator Clinton is proposing, and knows that Senator Clinton has the knowledge, the experience to go forward and implement those plans. And so it's not a single moment, because unless you're a president, you don't have a single moment like that. It is a lifetime of experience, understanding, knowledge, and background in the issues that allows you to make the kind of good decisions that a president will need to make when getting a call at 3 a.m. I don't know if Mark wants to add to that.
No, just that she's had extensive work in economic development, and bringing together new markets, helping to save and create jobs in her tenure. Although much of her plan was blocked by the Republicans for such a long period of time, she found a lot of alternate ways to create jobs, and was reelected by an even wider margin in New York State and in upstate New York. And one of the big reasons for that was her ability to find alternate ways to bring markets together. One of her farm-to-fork programs brought the urban and agricultural markets together, for example, and her dedication to those issues and to the people whose lives she said she would improve, and who voted quite enthusiastically for her reelection. But I think, as Howard said, is much broader than that specific experience. She has a deep understanding for those who talk economics, believe that she, just as she understands the military in a way that she is ready to be commander-in-chief, she understands the intricacies of the economy in a way, both in terms of her perspective, in terms of what we need to do to rein in the special interests and rebuild the middle class, but in terms of her technical knowledge and expertise to be president and to manage this economy. I think the ad underscores the confidence that people have in her on that, and underscores the real concern that people might have with Senator McCain if we had a brewing economic situation.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Sure.
But isn't the ad about, I mean, yes, nobody's prepared for the presidency before they've actually had it, but isn't the argument that life experience presents you with challenges and crisis moments where you've been tested that are presidency -1 or presidency -2, but that are still full of peril, full of quick decision-making, and that's what we're all supposed to focus on? So why, isn't there some experience that you can have outside of the presidency that would fulfill this striking picture of a crisis moment?
Well, again, I would go back to what I said, which is I do not believe, unless you are president, that you can create an exact analogous moment. And what you look for in a candidate for president is somebody with a lifetime of experience who can bring all of that experience, all of that knowledge, all of that expertise to bring when confronted with difficult problems and situations in office. And so, I mean, it's a very fair question, but I think the answer is much broader than you're suggesting. It is about a real lifetime of experience. But having said that, I would look at her record to ensure that New York got the resources it needed after 9/11. Making sure with her colleague Chuck Schumer and others in the New York delegation and in New York that New York City got the resources it needed by this administration that was originally might have been originally less than forthcoming, to ensure that it got back on its feet. It was not clear what the future of downtown New York would be after 9/11. It was not clear what the future of Wall Street would be after 9/11. And there is much credit to go around in the rebuilding of Lower Manhattan. But Senator Clinton certainly did her part, working with her colleagues to help ensure that New York got back on its feet. And that was obviously a moment where there was significant need. There was not an enormous amount of time available to help ensure the stability of downtown, and Senator Clinton certainly deserves credit for working with others to ensure that that assistance was given and stability restored.
And while, let me just add this, Mark, and while this ad, uses the 3M for indicating the kind of person you want to be the leader, to be able to make the decisions that need to be made for a country, it points out these big economic problems that people are facing. They're on the front pages every day now. And I think if you go back and look at her record on the housing crisis, she was last March writing that this was a serious matter. In June, I believe, coming back and saying this is a serious matter, being told by the administration that it would not be that serious. She was right. The administration was wrong. She was on top of this problem far earlier than the administration, which only came to the problem quite late. And now we're seeing that Senator McCain would also not come to meet and join this problem. I think there's a very good illustration in the housing crisis itself what kind of president she would have been in terms of taking fast action at the start of this thing, and what we've seen with President Bush and what's being projected out with Senator McCain's statements that he would continue a kind of policy that the senator believes would not do what our communities really need.
Next question, please.
All right, we'll take the next question.
Yes, Rodney Livingston at the SPNN.net television network here in Washington, D.C. The current economic plan, is that under revision to take into account eventualities that will be taking place in the latter part of 2008 and through 2009? And if so, if you can, what might be the scenarios if things take a downward turn? And then the only follow-up question I would have is, would the selection by Senator McCain of Secretary Rice, would that influence Senator Clinton and her selection for vice president if, in fact, Secretary Rice is coming off a win in the Middle East?
Well, let me. I'll let Mark think about the VP question, but the answer to the first, or I'll take it either way. The answer to the first question is that, look, Senator Clinton believes that the policies that she has put forth are the right policies that America needs now. It's the policies that if she were president, she would enact. Now, if the God forbid the country goes deeper into a recession in a way that we cannot currently foresee, then obviously we would have to address that. But we hope that doesn't happen. We believe that Senator Clinton's economic plans were enacted today, that they would help prevent that from occurring. And these are the proposals that we believe would appropriately address the situation as we confront it. I don't know if Mark has thoughts on the VP. With regard to the VP, I think it is certainly premature for us to be speculating about who Senator Clinton's VP is. We don't know who John McCain's VP is, and I think probably imprudent to pick a VP based on who one's opponent picks a VP. It's probably most prudent to pick the best person who can step in and be president as VP.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, it's Kate Snow at ABC.
Okay, welcome back.
Thank you. I was on vacation last week. Thank you so much. So I just want to go back to this point. As a matter of resource allocation, you've admitted that you don't have nearly the resources that Senator Obama does, and you said that you will be outspent in Pennsylvania. So my question is, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me that you would spend your limited resources in Pennsylvania on an ad that goes after someone who's not even your opponent technically yet. Why wouldn't you be spending those resources on an ad that goes after Senator Obama, since he's the guy you're trying to knock down in Pennsylvania? Or is it that you're so confident that you're going to win Pennsylvania, you don't feel like you have to run ads against Senator Obama?
I think that the ad shows a contrast between Senator Clinton and John McCain that works so that Democratic primary voters say, she is really the one to take on John McCain. And so this is an ad in the Democratic primary, and it not only talks about how his program wouldn't help people, but would be like letting the phone ring, but how her program really is a program for action and to create jobs. And so it kicks off a debate, which is that, well, in terms of electability, when it came to national security, Senator Clinton was number one. Well, when it against John McCain, who has a record over time. Well, against both McCain and Obama, she's the only one that people really have confidence can manage the economy, the number one issue that has emerged. So we think Democratic primary voters will rally around this spot. They will see the big differences between her and John McCain, and that it will increase her support in the primary, and that showing that she could take John McCain on in what is the number one issue in this election now, without question, in a very important and big way, will serve to rally Democratic primary voters, and is in fact, an excellent strategy, during this period.
And are you able to tell us how big a buy this is, or how much money you're spending on this?
It will be. It's a real buy. This is an ad that will be shown all across Pennsylvania, and will be seen by many voters. It is a substantial buy. It's a real buy, and people will be absolutely be seeing it. And it's a fair question you ask, and to just amplify what Mark said and what I said earlier. We believe that there are three main questions that voters are asking themselves. Who's ready to be Commander-in-Chief? Who's ready to be Steward of the Economy? Who's ready to take on John McCain? And this ad obviously deals with two of those and makes the argument that Senator Clinton is ready to take on John McCain. Senator Clinton is ready to be Steward of the Economy. And answering those questions for voters, we believe, is critically important, and that's what this ad does.
All right, we'll take our next question.
Hi, it's Gordon Trowbridge from the Detroit News. I wanted to ask about Governor Dean's meeting today with the Florida delegation and the proposals that are out there, both from Michigan and Florida, to reach some sort of negotiated settlement on how to split up the delegates from those two states. Is the campaign still opposed to that, or given the fact that there's an increasing amount of conversation about those kinds of negotiated settlements, is that something that you guys are, at this point, ready to consider?
Well, look, we're certainly...
This is Phil Singer, by the way.
Phil Singer, sorry. We're certainly encouraged by Chairman Dean's meeting this morning with the Florida delegation, and, we think that's a positive step. But look, there is a process that is going on here. There's a pending matter that is before the Rules and Bylaws Committee at the DNC pertaining to the delegation from Florida, filed by a gentleman named John Osmond. And, we're very anxious and we await the resolution of that matter, clearly. But look, at the end of the day, we stand by our oft-repeated mantra that it is imperative that we include the votes of Florida and Michigan as part of the Democratic nominating process, that we ensure that the 2.5 million people who participated are not disenfranchised. I think it's interesting. If you look at the Quinnipiac polls that came out today, one of the three swing states that they surveyed was Florida. And we are seeing some early evidence that Senator Obama's got some ground to pick up in Florida. He's running against Senator McCain more weekly than we are. We are actually ahead of Senator McCain in Florida by a couple of points. Senator Obama is down by several points to John McCain. And certainly, we think that it is important to ensure that the delegations from each of these states be seated. We await the legal process, or the process that is pending before the Rules and Bylaws Committee with regard to Florida currently, and certainly hope that Senator Obama embraces and joins us in our efforts to see some sort of outcome from the Rules and Bylaws Committee pertaining to the matter that is currently before it.
If I could just follow up real quick, there are proposals in both states that would allocate half of the delegates based on the results of the January primaries, and the other half by some other means. Would that fulfill the test that you're laying out there of honoring the results of those January votes?
Well, I think we've got it. You really have to take a look at the particulars. I mean, the devil is always in the details when it comes to these things. Certainly, we first and foremost remain fervent in our belief that the will of the electorate, the votes, need to be counted, and that at the end of the day remains the simplest way to resolve this matter, and certainly the most democratic way.
Thanks.
And we'll take the next question.
Hi, gentlemen. It's Chuck Ross from Gannett. General Petraeus is scheduled to testify again next week, and the last time he did, as you know, it became fairly politicized, starting with the MoveOn.org and ad. And Senator McCain has just recently said that he believes Senator Clinton should apologize to General Petraeus for her willing suspension of disbelief comment. First, does the senator think she needs to apologize? Does she advise against another MoveOn.org attack ad on General Petraeus? And most importantly, is there a danger that that something this important to the country is going to get overwhelmed by the nominees and the heat of partisan politics?
Well, let me answer your last question first, because I think it's an important question. I think it is.
Howard.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. It's critically important that an issue of war and peace not be politicized in the context of a presidential election, and certainly Senator Clinton does not intend to politicize these hearings or this issue. Now, it is obviously incumbent upon all the candidates running to talk about what they would do in Iraq as president, and there are profound differences between Senator Clinton and Senator McCain on the issue of Iraq and what we would do going forward. But I think it is incumbent upon all the candidates and all the campaigns not to politicize these hearings. I'm not aware of any independent group planning any activity.
But would you benefit, Howard? I mean, would the campaign advise?
Well, you know, we're now a few days away, obviously, from the hearings. I'm not aware that any group is planning on doing anything. The group that you mentioned has actually endorsed Senator Obama, so I think that they are supporters of his, and the question is probably better put to that campaign. Senator Clinton obviously spoke about the ad and about her remarks to Senator Petraeus. At the time, I would direct you back to what she said then, and I don't imagine we are going to have any further comment on any of that. I think it's important that all the candidates go into this process in a serious, substantive way, and that, of course, is what Senator Clinton is prepared to do.
All right, thanks.
We'll take our next question.
Howard, Mark, it's Jim Coonan at AP. Back to the ad, it seems that by going in contrasting with McCain, the campaign might be taking to heart some concern that Democrats going after each other publicly in ads could be damaging to the eventual nominee. Is that a consideration in the tack that this ad is taking? And on a separate question, Senator Clinton will be in Memphis on Friday to honor Dr. Martin Luther King, and I understand that Senator McCain will be there as well. Wondering if you guys plan to share the stage with Senator McCain on Friday.
Well, let me do the first question. Again, I don't want to prejudge the direction of future ads. I think this ad does rally all Democrats around Senator Clinton, and as the one who is ready to handle the economic problems of the country, and it specifically contrasts against the real lapses of McCain. And so I do think this, on the one hand, rallies Democrats around her, and on the other hand, I think that it also increases the obvious electability of Senator Clinton versus McCain, and that both of these things are very important for the Democratic primary voters who are going to go to the polls. And I think they're very important in terms of raising a national debate, which I think will also ultimately, reflect itself in the kinds of polls that we're seeing come out of Florida and Ohio and Pennsylvania, that she genuinely is far more likely to be the most electable candidate that we have, both because she's ready to be commander-in-chief and ready to handle these economic problems and to draw a real difference here on the economy. So I think, as I said in response to your question, this is an ad that rallies Democratic voters, brings them, I think, all to her side, but at the same time points out that of the three candidates running, I think that she is the one who is ready to handle these problems.
But you're not setting aside the possibility of a future contrast ad with Senator Obama.
Yeah, I'm not going to prejudge our future campaign, but I think that this ad brings all Democrats together around the realization that she's the one who is most ready to handle this, and what a gaping and what the huge contrast is with Senator McCain.
And on Friday in Memphis?
I'd again have to check with scheduling on that, and I'll let you know when I'm in a position to do that.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We'll take the next question.
Hi, this is Jim Barnes with National Journal. Senator Clinton today proposed $7 billion a year in new tax breaks to spur high wage raise jobs, and yesterday she talked about a $10 billion emergency fund to repair infrastructure. In light of the deficits, don't those outlays make her look like less of a good steward of fiscal policy?
Well, the senator, and could refer you to our policy director, but she is very careful to have pay-fors for the proposals that she makes, including this one. And I think one of the ones she's illustrated is that she's got $55 billion that she would, just from reining in the special interests, meaning getting rid of the Bush-Cheney bill, extra oil tax breaks, increasing competition in Medicare, getting rid of the Wall Street, some of the Wall Street tax breaks, so that she has significant ways of capturing $55 billion of subsidies and tax benefits that are now being given to the special interests. But there are also specific pay-fors for each of these proposals, which our policy director can review. I believe our website also has that. Thanks.
And we'll take our next question.
We'll take a couple of more questions and then call it a day.
Yes, hi. I was wondering, with the 3 a.m. call campaign, do you think it'd be more effective if she would talk sexy so I can pinch my squid? I think that's it. I love you.
Next question.
Obama has cute ears.
Question, thank you.
Hey guys, it's Christina with the Washington Times. I just wanted about the ad. I mean, it's a few people have looked at it and said it kind of seems like using last year's Christmas cards. You've got some new footage of people looking at bills, but people have seen this ad before. Are you concerned at all about that?
Well, that ad was only played for a few days in...
But it got, I mean, really, really wide circulation on television.
It did. It did not. It was not in Pennsylvania. So what we think it does is that it will again remind people. I think, both of the previous ad that they've heard about, and also take the argument to the economic. As Howard said, there are two main things people are looking for the president in these times of two wars and an economic crisis, and so we're extending kind of the 3 a.m. argument from. As you saw in the first ad, Commander-in-Chief, to hear who's going to be the right manager of the economy. And we think that while a lot of people, might have some recollection of it, it's the first time that people in Pennsylvania will be seeing it for themselves, and they're seeing it in a totally different context, so that we've moved the argument forward here from Commander-in-Chief to managing the economy. And this is absolutely critical in places like Pennsylvania, where the economy is the issue, and where they're looking for somebody to be a strong steward of the economy. And of course, the ad, it comes after a 5-day economic tour and a series of tax cuts through dealing with special interests, to dealing offshore tax breaks, to dealing with how we insource more jobs. And so that it all fits together for a very important argument for the working middle classes and all working people, I think, who are concerned about the economy in Pennsylvania.
And you're not concerned that it looks like you're splicing together a few old clips to try and save money?
Can I address that? This ad is going to run at a substantial level, a substantial amount of money is going to be spent on the ad. Millions of dollars are going to be spent on ads going forward in the upcoming primary states. That is patently ridiculous, with all due respect. The idea is to build on an ad that was extremely successful, that people will remember, and that will have resonance in the context of the 3 a.m. theme. Some of the images are the same in order to evoke the previous ad. Many of the images are different, and as I'm sure you know from having covered the issue of ad making, it does not cost a lot of money to license a visual image in an ad. I mean, we're talking about a couple of $1,000s. So that's just patently ridiculous, with all due respect. We'll take one more question. That was Howard, by the way. That was not Mark. We'll take one more question. I should mention that when Mark was speaking, Phil and I were debating as to which news organization the previous caller might have been from. If anyone has any suggestions along those lines, feel free to email them. Maybe we can do a pool on that, a little contest on that. But we'll take one more question, call it a day. Thanks, everybody, for getting on, and I'm happy to take follow-up questions or comments.
All right, we'll take the last question.
Hi, this is Noam Levy with the Los Angeles Times. Just a quick question about the Lee Hamilton endorsement today. To what extent do you think that undermines Senator Clinton's claim to be the candidate better prepared to be commander-in-chief?
Look, I think we have, Senator Clinton has a lot of respect for Lee Hamilton. He was an outstanding representative from Indiana, and he obviously performed great work on the 9/11 Commission on behalf of the country. He obviously felt that Senator Obama was the better choice. He, of course, is free to make that choice. We are confident that Senator Clinton is the better choice. Both sides have good endorsers. I would point you to the more than 30 generals and admirals who have endorsed Senator Clinton throughout this campaign, men and women who have obviously put their lives on the line for their country, believe that Senator Clinton is best prepared to meet commander-in-chief. I think the number of generals and admirals that Senator Obama has is substantially fewer. If we were having this conversation in 1992, and I suggested, first of all, that Senator Clinton would be running for president, probably some people would be surprised. But if I further said that Senator Clinton would have the support of over 30 generals and admirals, they would be surprised. But Senator Clinton has worked very, very hard as a United States Senator with our men and women in uniform, has earned their respect in a way that, again, I think would have surprised her critics, and is proud of the fact that over 30 generals and admirals have endorsed her. We have a really great radio ad up in Pennsylvania that features some of them. They're very strong endorsers, very strong validators, and we're very proud of them. And with that, I want to thank everyone for joining, and we will talk to you again soon. Thanks, everybody.